Howdy folks, welcome to another episode of Making Dough Show. Today I wanted to talk to you about employer versus employee mindset. Many of us that are business owners ourselves, we have a background in working for someone else before. If not, maybe you when you were a teenager, equally, you worked for a restaurant, you worked wherever. We've gotten paid hourly. It may not be the case now because you're the employer and you don't get paid hourly maybe, but it is very common. We all come from that mindset, that background of at some point in life, we've gotten paid hourly. And today I wanted to tell you that if you're still, have that mindset, and I always need to check myself before I wreck myself, and that is, as an employer, you do not get paid hourly. And it's not really about the number of hours you work, but rather it's a lot more about what you do in the hours that you do work. And not only that, the results you're generating in the hours that you do work. And this is what I try to do quite often. Every single week, I try to assess. I look at my calendar last week. What did I accomplish? How many hours did I work? Because I'm not going to be proud of the fact that I worked 50, 60 hours, particularly, in the restaurant business. Now, I don't work operations anymore. So, I work on the business a lot. But it's not about the number of hours that you work. You're like, oh yeah, I work so hard. It's not about that because you and I don't get paid hourly, friend. So stop being boastful about that. You need to figure out what have you accomplished? What are you building in the hours that you are working? And it's kind of easy because sometimes, what I mean is sometimes I go to our restaurant and our manager, he's very nice and he would like me to go home, particularly I'm pregnant right now. And, so, he wants me to go home and, he tells me go home and rest because he doesn't know kind of what I do. I run the marketing side of our business, a lot of kind of a biz dev, developing business relationships. I'm very involved in that Chamber of Commerce. And different stuff like that. He doesn't know exactly what I do, but it's this mindset of wanting to impress people, telling them that I work 60 hours a week. That is a wrong mindset. That is not going to get you results. I, in fact, don't work a lot anymore. I work about 20 to 25 hours a week, but when I work, I am very dangerous. I work very focused. That's why I usually leave the house around sometimes 6 a.m. I go to our restaurant when no one's there. Staff arrives around 10 a.m. On those 5 hours, I'm able to accomplish the work of anybody else, maybe put up 7 to 10 hours because I'm incredibly focused and aggressive. I have young children, so I guard my time a lot. I want to be back home to my kids as fast as I can, so I don't fool around. But, that's kind of my case. But it's not about the fact that I only worked 5 hours in a day. And I need to remind sometimes I'm restless. I feel like I'm not working as much. Again, I need to remind myself to get out of that employee mindset and instead be like, you only have 5 hours to work on this thing, or maybe you have 3 hours to work on this thing today. What are you going to do in those 3 hours that is going to generate the most results? My goal always is to do less better than doing too many things and not having enough results to show for it. So the purpose of this show is I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you are an employer, if you are a leader of a company or your business or your restaurant, how do you assess, are you boastful that you work a lot, or you are mindful of the fact that it's not about the hours you work? This is the employee mindset. If you're not getting paid per hours, friend, it's irrelevant how many hours you work, but rather what it is that you're doing and the hours that you do indeed work. Hope you're having a wonderful week. As always, would love to hear from you and your thoughts in this journey of as we build our restaurant businesses. And thank you so much for tuning into another episode. I appreciate it very much. And with that, let's get back to work and make some dough. Thank you. Bye-bye.